Yeah, I thought we started off a lot better than we did last night. You know, I think we're up 7 at the half. They came out early, and the kid Morrow, you know, hit 4 straight threes to start the game. We got down, but you know, I think it was one of those things where this whole year we've always gotten everybody's best shot early. There's been a lot of threes rained on us early in games, and I thought we kept really good composure. In that defensively, we did a much better job than yesterday in the first half. You know, we held them to 34% in the first half, which is really solid. I think we're now 18-0, holding teams under 40% this year. So it's one of those things where that was a huge goal for us, was to come out, really have a good defensive stand, because they have 2 elite players in Alden, number 5, and Rupkis, number 10. Those guys are really high-level players, and then they create all the space for all the standstill 3 shooters to make plays. So they take a lot of threes, and that's how they live. I thought we struggled early against the 1-3-1. They played a lot of 1-3-1 early, but as the game wore on, we got used to it, and I thought we did a better job. And you know, to be up 7 at the half, we were or 6 at the half, no 7. You know, we were happy with that. But I also thought we were too happy, and I thought we were too satisfied, and I thought we came out, you know, just a little too relaxed. You know, in the second half they came out, and I think they scored 8 straight to start the second half. And you know, to their credit, I mean, they're a really good team, really good program. They won the regular season in their conference. And it was a situation where we knew it was going to be a punch, counter-punch type of game, because their offensive firepower is really high-level stuff. The thing about it, though, is they're shooting mostly threes, because we're doing a good job keeping the drivers out of the paint. And that was really the key to the game for us, was no paint field goal attempts. And when they did, I thought we swarmed it pretty well. In the first half, we got 12 extra shots based on our 10 offensive rebounds and a couple steals, and we took care of the ball for the whole game against the zone, which I was really happy about, because we only had 7 turnovers for the game. You know, I felt the momentum shifted in that early part of the second half, and they took control of the game for probably, you know, an 8 to 12 minute span where nothing for us was really going right on offense, and on defense, you know, it was intermittent in terms of our effort. But, you know, we had some stops, but then we didn't secure the rebound, we didn't secure a loose ball. That gave them life and into another possession. To their credit, they, you know, got the 50-50 balls off those rebounding situations. But the great thing about this team is we persevere, you know, and we never, you know, get too high or too low. We just talk about what we need to do, you know, in the next possession defensively, as well as, you know, offensively, how we want to try and score the ball. Or, you know, like Isaiah, you know, had such a great game last night. And again, he came up with, you know, 12 points and 9, I think it was 12 and 9. No, I got 11 and 9. So, you know, he wasn't as dynamic scoring, but they did a good job, you know. So it was a much lower scoring game than last night, so the points were harder to get. But to be down late in the second half, probably with 4 minutes to go, and, you know, to storm back and, you know, really take control of the game down the stretch, and, you know, have the confidence to make the plays down the stretch, was really proud of our effort.
Joey, rebounding's always been part of your game, but the team needed it so much more tonight than a lot of the other games you've had this year. When you got the sense that you were going to need to really go over the top on the glass tonight, how are you able to continue to bang around in there and still have enough energy to score?
You know, I think down the stretch, I tend to just, you know, have a knack for the ball and know I got to go get it. I mean, our bigs do a great job boxing out. Charlie, Isaiah. You know, there were some long rebounds there, and I was able to get up over the top. And you know, I think probably got a lot of rebounds in the last 10 minutes. But you know, just got to focus on that the whole game.
Charlie, you went from a month ago not playing at all because of the concussion to now, after coming off the bench almost your whole career, you're a starter for this NCAA tournament run to wrap your career. How have you been able to transition into that as well as you have?
I think a lot of it's just kind of senior experience. You know, just being here before, like sophomore year, we made our tournament run. Like I started the second half of one of those games, and so I kind of had experience with it. You know, due to the concussion, I've kind of dealt with injuries every year here, unfortunately, but it's kind of made me learn how to get right back into it. And you know, we've dealt with a lot of injuries this year at various points, so there's not really any time to kind of take a while to get back into it. Coach always says you got to just be ready to go, no excuses. So I think a lot of it's just the senior leadership, just being able to step right in and just do whatever I need to do.
Coach, they took Madunanen out because of the 2 fouls with 2:49 left in the first half, and you were really able to catch lightning in a bottle for the rest of the first half there to build that 7-point lead. Did you tell the team that that was going to be a big opportunity with him off, and how are they able to get all those points in a bundle there?
I don't think we talk about any one player. I mean, I think our biggest issue, they took 36 threes, and so it was one of those deals where, for us, we had to run them off the arc or at least get out there and challenge. I thought early we didn't, and, later in the first half, we really did a good job. When we scored, we went 2-2-1, which took time off the clock. Like, they're a very methodical team. They're a reset team where, if they don't get something off their initial action, they like to reset. And I thought that gave us a huge advantage because they weren't getting the shots that they wanted. And down the stretch, they were doing a lot of, pick and pop, pick and dive, or try and turn the corner. They ran a couple slice screens. So it was one of those deals where, for us, we had seen that a lot in the NCAA tournament last week, and I felt like we reacted pretty well to it, and that's why we got the lead.
You guys have done, such a commendable job this year, kind of coming, like you said, Coach, you guys have really weathered every team's best shot. What do you kind of attribute that to? Do you guys talk about that as sort of a quality of senior leadership, or how is this team able to kind of weather the impact of the best shot from the other team and then ultimately rally to pull it out?
I think definitely senior leadership. I mean, we had 3 or 4 seniors on the court, pretty much the whole game. Guys that have been there, guys that are on that Final Four team. And we never get nervous. Even when we were down, 5, 7 points late in that second half, we just kind of said, all right, it's our time. It's time to go. And we were able to get the stops down the stretch. Isaiah and Charlie had some big buckets, but senior leadership, I think, is huge for us.
Does it ever cross your mind, in those final minutes, do you ever have time to kind of process and think about, this could be your final game as a senior? Is that something that you ever give some thought to?
Not really. I feel like when you're in the game, you're just, it's something that I think motivates you. I think there's a timeout, maybe the last media timeout, we're just sitting there, and I forget what the score was, but it had gotten pretty close, and we're kind of just look, there's no time to, if you make mistakes, no time to get down, this is it. We have so many seniors, a lot of juniors. This team, we've been excited about this year for a long time now. So, we're not thinking, oh shoot, if we lose, it's over. We're just kind of all right, this is it. Let's go and make the plays to get it done. And we've kind of done that all year. So,
Joey, the game, maybe you feel different, but to me a little bit felt like Sunday's game in the sense that they were trying to run the clock out on you and just trying to kind of take the end of the game away from you so you wouldn't be able to score your way out of trouble. Did that experience from Sunday, even though you lost, help you in the late minutes of this game tonight?
I think a lot of teams try to do that. They build a lead on us and relax, and they don't play to win. And down the stretch, we do play to win, and that's why we're able to come back in those games and grind out those victories.
Coach, just a similar idea where the team's been really, ever since you've taken on this latest wave of injuries, the team's been behind in a lot of these games for considerable amounts of time in a lot of these games. So you didn't have a lot of chance to practice that during the early part of the season because you tended to play with leads. But how's the team been able to stay resilient in the face of the scoreboard being against them for a lot of these games?
I think we talk mostly about game to game and half to half improvement. On the board before every game, we talk about what happened last night. Last night in the first half, we had 47% from the floor. It was not a strong half for us defensively, and it was one of those deals where at halftime yesterday we had a really, I guess there was a lot of listening to me at that point, and it was one of those deals where we really played more discipline and do what we practice. And I think that's all you try and do is practice correctly so that when the game happens, you know that you have the confidence in the guy next to you, that he's got your back, especially in the driving kick situation, which, with the advent of Steph Curry and the trickle-down effect of the three-point shooting, 36 threes, a lot of threes, we can't give up paint field goal attempts. And then we got to run guys off the line or at least be in a situation where, we're challenging. So we work on that every day, a ton. So I think that we're prepared because it's something that we take pride in and work at. And I think the biggest thing is you got to decide to be great. That's what we talked about today. You got to decide to be great, and you got to decide that you're going to do the right thing, no matter what the score is, no matter what the last shot happened, what the last possession was for you, and that's all we talked about is, you know, really be a team that's going to own the moment as opposed to, you know, really wither in the light, in the bright lights, you know. And I think that we talk about being in the precious present all the time.
Give this question to you, Coach, because these guys, all they've ever done is win like this in their whole career here. But I mean, for you that's had a full coaching career here at Babson, I know you're not done, but to reflect for a second.
Yeah, thanks.
Here,
I'm ready to retire. Good luck next week, guys.
4 NCAA tournaments, 3 Sweet 16s. I know you're still in the moment, but can you reflect on that a little with the senior class?
Yeah, I mean, I think that for me, I just want everything for this class. You know, they've been through so much. Last year, you know, we had 4 straight losses and sat with the last one for, you know, 30-some odd days, you know, after a double overtime loss at Amherst in December, and that motivated us, you know, and that was when I think this group really understood that every possession was precious and that they had to learn to play better defense. And I think the maturation of the group happened last year in December. You know, last year we got everybody's best shot because of the Final Four the year before. Well, not everybody had played in that Final Four. So that group, this group had to learn. And this group's been together for 2 years. So we've been in a situation where we could grow together and get through the adversity. So we, you know, had four losses in a row that were, you know, double overtime, single overtime, shot at the buzzer. So we had to really grow from those situations. And, you know, we felt like we left something on the table last year. And now we're back. And that's been our motivation to go back this year, is that, you know, we don't want to leave anything on the table. We want to go as far as we possibly can. And, you know, this is a great group of young men, and we want everything possible for them because of the character, the work ethic, and the culture they've built. They deserve it. And that's all I really think about, you know, when I have time to think and not watch film.
Joey and Charlie, I kind of have to ask both of you guys, that 3 to beat the buzzer in the first half ended up being quite the nice thing to have in your back pocket, the way this game played out. How were you able to bring that play into being in front of the buzzer?
You know, I came off that ball screen. You know, I was looking to attack, and I saw Chuck in the corner, and you know, he's been my roommate. I have all the trust in the world in him, so just kicked it to him. I knew that was going in, so I started running off the court.
You?
Yeah, I mean, you know, late we kind of like to have Joe kind of come off that flat ball screen up top. He just kind of takes so many guys with him, has such a head of steam coming into the paint, so I just know, you know, especially late in the shot clock or late in the half, just I'm going to spot up and probably get an open look. So, you know, just depended that guy had to go and help because Joe kind of got by the first guy. Just kind of let it go, and obviously it went in. So, yeah, it was a big shot at the time. Obviously, they came out hot in the second half, but we just did what we had to do and came out on top.
Cool. Just to get them through here.